Today we're going to look at 9 altcoins that I think are set to have huge gains in the upcoming year. I'm going to tell you why, and then we're going to go straight to a crypto ranking list, and we're going to rank them in order. And the reason we're looking at 9 altcoins in particular is recent actions by the U.S. government, particularly the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. They approved and then instantly paused a Bitwise ETF conversion. Bitwise is an investment company, and they had 10 cryptos that they wanted to put in an exchange-traded fund. And those 10 cryptos was Bitcoin and 9 altcoins, and we're going to talk about those 9 altcoins today. Now, what was frustrating for traders was the SEC greenlit this Bitwise ETF, but then just halted it hours later. And this action is very similar to what we saw them to Grayscale. Grayscale also had a digital large cap fund. They wanted an ETF listing, but then the SEC gave them a delay. So let's go ahead and dive into what are the 9 altcoins. Now, Bitwise has the 10 tokens. Grayscale only has a handful: ETH, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. But if we go to Bitwise, you see all of those same altcoins plus a few extra. So these are the 9 coins that we're going to be looking at. We're going to look at it in order. And like I said, we're going to rank these altcoins. So let's start with Ethereum because it's at the top of the list here. My simple thesis for ETH is Wall Street is buying much more ETH than is available. So ETH is issued daily from the proof of stake chain. Sometimes it's deflationary, but right now it's slightly inflationary. The network produced $13 million worth of ETH. However, Wall Street bought $534 million worth of ETH. So the ETH ETFs bought 58x more ETH than was issued by the network that day. So now let's go into the charts. ETH is actually hitting against some ancient dragon resistance. This is resistance all the way back to 2021. Now this is on a log chart, and I expect once this breaks out, we're going to see huge gains for ETH, and I would just use the Fibonacci extension to look for some pretty popular levels. When we go to the dailies, you can see this is a pretty good indicator here. And so the next targets for ETH is, now obviously we're going to hit near the previous all-time high. That's going to be around 4,800. Another level is going to be the 1618 level. That's going to be right around $5,800 Ethereum. And then my target for this cycle is going to be around this $8,600, and that's going to be the 2618. So to me, ETH is a very safe bet. It's a very strong altcoin, and I think it's going to do great. Now, you might get better gains in some of the smaller caps, but if Bitcoin falls off a cliff, ETH is probably going to be your best protection to the downside. So ETH gets an A. Now let's go to coin number 2. That's going to be XRP, and that is the second largest altcoin allocation in this portfolio. It's going to make up 6.5%. So XRP charts, we got a great technical breakout. We actually have 2 that we're going to measure. One is going to be the symmetrical triangle breakout, where you measure the maximum distance where it has hit the bottom of the triangle and the top of the triangle, and then put that at the breakout, and that gives us a pretty good near-term target of $4.30. But we also have the bull flag pennant, and that gives us a little bit more bullish target price here. And we would measure it this way. You would do something very similar to the breakout. Now we're cooking with a $5.17 XRP. All right, now it's time to rank XRP. Now, the community is definitely S tier for XRP. There's not many stronger communities than the XRP community, but they do have the escrow wallet, and they do release a lot of XRP into the market every month. So I don't know how well this one's going to perform. I'm putting it at a C. Don't hate me, XRP community. All right, now next is Solana. 3.3% allocation. Now, Solana also has just great chart here. This looks beautiful. Main chart pattern everyone's talking about is we broke out of the cup and handle here. You can see the handles, somewhat confirming a breakout here. And there's 2 different ways you can measure it from the handle breakout. That's going to give us a $410 Solana, or you can measure from the neckline of the cup, and that gives you a $511 Solana. I personally think Solana is going to top out because it's such a strong meme community within it. I can see the meme number of 420 being the target for 2025, which is still a huge gain. So Solana is going to go firmly into the B category. Now, Bitwise, next token is Cardano with a 1% allocation here. Cardano, we did a video on this not too long ago. We filmed it about 5 days ago, and in that video, I do more of an explanation why I have this target. It's $1.25. The quick assessment, however, is mostly it was just the target where we hit the first cycle peak in 2018. This is January 2018. And you can see, as we started the bear market, it was also the last hurrah, the dead cat bounce area. So $1.25 is going to be very important for Cardano. And it's the top of the last daily close. You can see we wicked up above it pretty strongly, but very, very strong level right around $1.25. Token So now let's go ahead and rank Cardano. A lot of people think, DZ's going to put us straight to the S tier. I do think it's going to be, it's a long road ahead to get to previous all-time highs. Solana has performed better in a bear market. XRP's performed better in the recent term. So, I'm still going to put it at the B. I think there's a lot more gas left in this tank. Altcoin number 5 is going to be SWI, 0.4% allocation. The SWI chart, I absolutely love. We're also in a symmetrical triangle, and right now we are retesting the triangle. And if we go into the 1 hour, you can see right now it is a very do or die moment for SWI. If we break to the downside, probably going to look a little ugly. Don't know if we come down to the bottom of the range here, but we do have a nice little target for SWI. And it's going to be similar to what we did earlier. The top most part of the triangle connected to the bottom because we had connected to the bottom right there. And that gives us a pretty good target for SWI of $7.40 roughly. SWI, strong community. A lot of VC money is going to be, interested in SWI. A lot of VCs can't cash out for several years, 2029, 2031. So you don't have to worry about the VCs dumping too hard on you. Very, very strong project though. I think I have to go with B again. I don't want to try to force another letter. I'm feeling like a strong B here. Altcoin number 6 is going to be Chainlink. Chainlink coming in the 0.4%. Chainlink, very interesting chart. We are in a megaphone pattern. Now, megaphone pattern is a little bit of a layman's term, also known as a broadening formation. Now, this broadening formation or this megaphone has given us a pretty good target. Now, you can see here, Chainlink can get to the top of this range pretty quickly. It can go on a tear. These are 3-day candles we're looking at. This right here is about 33 days. So, we'll assume this could happen sooner rather than later. Moving forward, let's just say 40 days because it's a little bit more. You're looking at a $40 Chainlink. Now, when you zoom out, still below previous all-time highs. Chainlink had got up to $50. So $40 Chainlink, definitely in the realm of possibility. But Chainlink, I love. The Link Marines are very, very strong, and they're doing a lot of work. Sergey Nazarov, he was at the White House very recently, would not sleep on Chainlink, mostly due to the power and the utility of Chainlink. I'm putting it in A tier. So it's an A tier just because how good the token is. Altcoin number 7 is going to be Avalanche, 0.3% allocation here. Avalanche, we're going to look at 2 different charts because this chart doesn't look super bullish. This has a March 2024 high, like every single coin that we looked at so far, but the December high after the Trump pump, Trump won the election, we got another altcoin pump. The Trump pump is lower than the BlackRock pump. This is BlackRock IBIT ETFs, aka Wall Street was able to buy Bitcoin through BlackRock, created a little rally. I don't like seeing a lower high, but there's another chart that just makes me very, very bullish. You can see Avalanche was trading at $150 previous cycle. And the chart that I do find very bullish is Avalanche priced in ETH. When you look at the AVAX ETH pair, looks like this thing is poised for a rebound. We're seeing a lot of similarities with this area right here to this area right here. Specifically, we're looking at bullish divergences on the daily RSI. You can see the daily is just, creating lower lows. However, the RSI has definitely found a bottom, is starting to show a little bit of strength on the relative strength index. And it's similar to what we're seeing right here. You can see, we created lower lows. However, the RSI created higher lows. This is also a little bit of a bullish divergence. So the AVAX ETH chart is showing a magnificent pump coming in the near term. And kind of off the strength of that, I think AVAX is going to get the coveted A tier here. Now let's go to the last 2. Litecoin. Litecoin with the 0.3%. Litecoin also coming against Ancient Dragon resistance. But this one's even stronger than ETH's is. This one goes all the way back to 2017. If this Litecoin resistance breaks, I expect to potentially maybe hit this trend line where we got slightly higher highs, slightly. And so I would be looking at a, pretty significant gain from this area. That would be a 400% pump. That'd take us from roughly $100 up to $500. But there's a bearish chart, and that's Litecoin priced in Bitcoin. It is a coin that is just consistently bled against Bitcoin. You'll see a very scary red wick. This is the founder selling his tokens for Bitcoin. That's why, such a deep red wick right there. Litecoin, looking at this chart, we are seeing strength in the RSI. We're, definitely have bottomed out. So probably is going to reverse against Bitcoin. The problem is when it reverses against Bitcoin, it doesn't last long. This is the June 22 bottom. pumped, 200%, which, not bad at all. But then if we look at the altcoin pump of 2021, a lot of altcoins had huge gains here, 300%, 400%, 500%. Litecoin gained 100% against Bitcoin. Maybe, Litecoin won't, move all that much relative to Bitcoin here. So Litecoin coming in a little bit more bearish here. I think I got to put that one in the D tier. I'm sorry, Litecoin community. All right, last token is going to be Polkadot. It's the smallest allocation, 0.2%. And the dot chart, also maybe we'll struggle to hit previous all-time highs. I don't know if it can get back up to $50. This pumped on anticipation of the parachain network. The way Polkadot works is has a bunch of neighborhoods that can kind of talk to each other. And Polkadot was the transit system, the road system. And they had a protocol with the cross-chain messaging system. We've done dot breakdowns. I don't want to get too technical here, but the anticipation of everybody using their interoperability layer led to massive pumps. Now that, a lot of the infrastructure is here, the users aren't here, so I don't know if it can recapture these previous all-time highs. So this one, I think I also got to put in the D tier. I'm not going to put it in F, but, that's what I got. Now, if I had to choose one out of the A to make it into the S tier, I really think you can close your eyes and throw a dart. You might do just as well as, pointing and thinking about it. I think it's going to be Chainlink, folks. So there is the ultimate altcoin tier list based off of what Wall Street is going to be paying attention to in the near term. I'm DZ for Discover Crypto, and hopefully I'll see you with at least 7 of these 9 alts at the top.